Hello, this is the Fixed Virus Show. Until I make something different, I guess. Call it something else. Anyway, I'm thinking about changing the show name. Anyway, we wanted to get into the one of the pages I have, the top 30 security links to review. This is the page right here. And the last time I updated it was February 26th. So it's about time. It's like two months now. Okay, so what we have 8 characteristics in the top 30 links. So I'm constantly reviewing links depending on if they're useful to me, and I have different values like cybersecurity value, industry links. Some of it is very subjective. It's AI relevance, attacker information. So if I have, for example, let's just pick something. Let's pick the number 3 one. Number 1 is number 1 because of its AI content and a lot of other cybersecurity content, the original cybersecurity content by Daniel Miessler. So number 2 is number 2 because of its Linux security and vulnerability information that is updated so much. But kind of like the first news site that I frequent a lot is Hacker News. So Hacker News gets updated daily. So this is good. So it gets the high marks for that. It then has many different topics, has a lot of exploits, has vulnerabilities, data breaches, and then I really kind of review some of the actual stories and how useful they are to me. So let's take a look at this one, how breaches start, breaking down 5 real vulnerabilities. Because that's an important topic, I mean, we want to know how and why actual breaches occurred, what happened to them. So stealing AWS credentials with a redirect. Server-side request forgery is very common. Unfortunately, if you had that is somewhat more complicated than a standard attack because now you have to do some coding review. So obviously some people are not doing the coding review that they need to do. Yeah, see, this attack would not have been possible if the metadata service was enforcing IMDS v2, a best practice that a good cloud security scanner would have flagged. So again, not enough scanning is being done, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Number 2, exposed Git repo gives full database access. Yeah, unfortunately, GitHub is a great website, but it also has a lot of negatives. Because if somebody can access your GitHub, then you're in trouble, because basically they're in a lot of different areas. Here's the remote code execution is something that I always look at. Here we go, how a tiny detail led to remote code execution. Hunting for bugs in a document signing app. Team noticed that after signing a PDF, the metadata listed AXF tool, the document creator. Okay. So here's a vulnerable CVE number. So they uploaded a malicious PDF, and then were able to get access to the data user. So, okay, so this is a foothold attack. So you're allowed to get access to the machine, and then you do more stuff. I went into that on several of my blogs. So my posts where, there's different aspects, different sections to an attack. The foothold is the first one. Then they want to continue keeping access. This is why I don't like remote code execution. Self XSS to site-wide account takeover. So basically, going back to this remote code execution, this has to do with a website that was vulnerable to a tool. Let's. I like to know the remote code execution to find out exactly what is in this. So the XF tool version 7.44 has a problem. So then if you feed that tool a specific kind of PDF code, then it can get compromised. This is not good, of course. Going back to the page, changing a number to expose sensitive data. Oh, this is an API weakness. APIs are always a problem. Well, okay, that was interesting. But what about a different site like Ars Technica? Ars Technica is an interesting site because it has a lot of different esoteric things in there as well as cybersecurity stuff. You can read other things. Well, I might be having some internet issues here. It's still coming up. Can always go back to my site while it's coming. So, one of the sites that I've looked at recently is Security Week. Security Week, I've been thinking of upgrading Security Week from number 16 to a better site, a better number. So let me take a look to see where I've placed it. I'm actually keeping the spreadsheet on a different computer, so I'm gonna be off the camera for just for a second here. Security Week. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little better regular, just generic value. AI news is a little better. I think I saw a post on AI a little further down. If you go to Security Week, there's Ars Technica. See, so it has different topics. We're gonna go back to Security Week after. Let's take a look at some Ars Technica stuff here. So Ars Technica. Yeah, so I have a very large computer monitor. I wonder how much of it can really be shown here. Oh yeah, can't see the stuff all the way to the right. Yeah, so some of this stuff isn't really that good as far as cybersecurity goes. So sometimes you have to go look at yeah, sometimes I like to go look at the classic site because classic they stop having the images. It's just the text. So there's just a bunch of topics. I guess they just have the initial ones. Well, looks like today Ars Technica isn't that good today, so we've got to keep moving. So let's take a look at Security Week. We'll close Ars Technica. Maybe Ars Technica. We we'll just reduce it a little bit since it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So we'll reduce Ars Technica. A little bit. It lost its value. It's doing a little bit too much other stuff. It has That's what happens. The sites go down in value and up in value over time. That's just the way it goes. Anyway, um, then there's also China news or external news. I guess China, Russia, the external threat attackers. So if we reduce all of those, then what happens to Ars Technica? Ars Technica lost a couple of different numbers, so it's down a couple. So we're gonna make it get down from fifth to, oh wow, it's gonna go jump quite a few. It'll go actually it'll jump down to 14, and security week is now at that number, but I think I'm gonna give it a couple of ones here. Well, notice it's security week. You have get a few more like general cybersecurity or IT type stuff, which is kind of what I'm looking for these days. This is the one that I really look forward to looking at because I quickly scanned this site earlier today. So one interesting thing of this story is that there was a breach in February 2024, and they they found the breach February 24. They were able to resolve it completely, well, to enough for them by August. So this is 6 months later, and then they didn't contact everyone that was potentially affected by it until a few days ago on April 17th of 2025. So literally almost 6 months later. So this tells you the time scale of what's going on. It's important to know that when you're gonna get hacked, if you do get hacked, it's not looking good, and it's a long, drawn out process. So because you have to find the hack, you got to make sure you have it, you got to deny it, you got to close everything up, you got to fix everything, and then you got to tell everyone the problems that occurred. This takes time. And if you're a big enough company, you can handle it. Well, it costs a lot of money, but at least you won't go out of business. But if you're a small company, and a lot of small companies, they don't make it when those kinds of major breaches occur. If this kind of breach occurred to a smaller company, it would have probably caused them, terminal problems. So that's kind of I was interested in that particular um, problem, that story, and Verisource provides employee benefits. Yeah, of course, to all their employees. HR outsourcing solutions and services. Oh, okay, not just their employees. So this is what they're doing. They're a benefits administrator. Well, it's no wonder all of the data that they had is very important. And as it says, the potentially compromised information, the company says, differs by individual, but generally includes names, addresses, dates of birth, gender information, social security numbers. All of the personal identifiable information that we talk about. That's all the important stuff. That's really what we need to keep away from the hackers. So what else does Security Week have? It has some interesting hacker news. And so news and exploits should be higher. So if that's the case, where are we at with Security Week? Well, it's at number 39. So you should be able to update frequency is number 10. So if we do change it to that, it could move up a couple spots. So yes, it could move up 3 spots. So let's put it up at four at 12. And so then what has to happen is I do a copy and paste on my spreadsheet here, and then I paste the number scheme until I figure out who has the new numbers. So yes, Security Week is now number 12. So I'll have to log in and change it to number 12. Give it a couple of extra points because I don't like to change them too much unless major changes occur, like with Daniel Miesler. So that is basically like a small microcosm of what I do at the top 30 security news. Um, I also, it's like the highly subjective high cybersecurity value. A lot of these are what's important to me, but the remote code execution updates is what I really really like, and that's really what gave me the impetus to change this and give Security Week a little higher rating. And unfortunately, with Ars Technica, with losing a couple of its ratings. So where is it now? Ars Technica is number 10. I really dumped it pretty low. So anyway, I didn't want to go more than about 20 minutes. So this is should be good. We'll do another one of these when I have to make more changes. But later on, I'll update this this link site, and then I'll upload it. So thanks for listening. Give me a call if you need some help with your cybersecurity.